Okey. Assalamualaikum semua. Apa khabar? Ni mana pelajar-pelajar E6 P3 ni? Kalau tengok senarai ni masih lagi ada yang belum attend. Jadi kita tunggu lebih kurang 30 second. Boleh tunggu Aziz?
Boleh cikgu.
Okey sekejap ya. Okey dah. Okey dah, nampak tiba-tiba dah banyak. Okey, saya dah nampak kehadiran yang daripada dah 2/3 dah hadir. 7 daripada 5. Okey, jadi saya nak kita teruskan. So today, Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera. Welcome to my channel, Cikgu Yati channel. And today I'm going to teach about incomplete records capital comparison method. So sebelum mula, saya menjemput saudara Haziq Zawawi untuk membacakan doa. Okey, dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftah alaina hikmataka wa anshur alaina min haza'i rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi washabbihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin.
Okey, terima kasih kepada saudara Haziq. Okey, jadi kita nak start dah. This topic adalah topik tentang incomplete record. Now I want to start with the ni. Okay. Alright. Aziz nanti tengok ya, nampak tak ya? I want to open the slide now. Okay tak Aziz?
Nampak cikgu?
Nampak whole ni?
Nampak.
Okay ni nampak tak? Ada blok tak kan?
Tak ada. Okey je.
Okay. Now we can start with the new chapter 11, accounting for incomplete record and single entry. Incomplete record in Malay ialah rekod tak lengkap, and single entry ialah catatan tunggal. Okay, kejap ya. Silap. Okay, this is the tool when you want to construct a building, you have this tool. So this one you must complete for the tools in order to build one house, a building. Okay, at the end of the lesson, you can give the definition and identify the problem that exists in the incomplete record and single entry. So this is the theory. You must know what is the meaning, the incomplete record, or in Malay, record tak lengkap, and single entry, catatan tunggal. Okay, you can calculate the net profit by using comparison method, or in other words, kaedah perbandingan and analysis method, kaedah analysis. So you are able to provide or prepare the income statement and the balance sheet of financial position when you use this method. Okay. Now the introduction. Incomplete record normally happen to a small business. Okay, the small business, one owner and a few friends. They have accounting records but do not maintain according to double entry system or double entry principle. So normally in chapter 2, double entry system, that means one account will be debited and one account should be credited. Okay, this is known as single entry system, result to incomplete record. So, incomplete record can happen due to, number one, keeping only certain books of account. Okay, normally the small business, they will keep only cash book. and check bars to record money received and money payment. Even if there is complete sets of book, some of the records may be lost, destroyed, or misplaced. Okay, now we look at the several reasons for the incomplete record. Number one, the person in charge for keeping financial records has no proper knowledge or they didn't turn up for training for accounting record. And number two, the records have been stolen, lost, or destroyed. So that one, the company doesn't have the complete record at the end of the accounting period. So this is the reason. Okay, single entry system. What you know about single entry system? Okay, number one, the single entry system of accounting is a form of bookkeeping in which of a company's financial transaction are recorded as a single entry in a log. For example, when the owner receive cash, so they just record cash received in the cash book, but the other side not recorded. Okay, number two, only the most simple records may be kept, such as cash disbursement. In other words, cash disbursement is cash payment. Cash receipt, checkbook, files of suppliers invoice. Suppliers invoice that mean the creditors and debtors book. Debtors book account receivable or a customer's book. And the third one, a single entry system tracks revenues and expenses, but does not monitor asset, liabilities, or owner's equity. So you can see the single entry system just focus revenue and expenses, and they have only cash payment, cash receipt, the account, this one, the suppliers invoice or creditors, debtors book, or the customer's book. That's all. They have only 4 books. So the disadvantages. Number one, the trial balance cannot be prepared to check the arithmetical accuracy of books of account. The trial balance, that means we have the account, one should be debited and another one should be credited. Okay, the information relate to asset and liabilities cannot be reliable. Okay, you know that the single entry system, they just focus the revenue and expenses only, but not for assets, liabilities. Okay, the true that means the actual profit or loss cannot be ascertained. And number four, we cannot compare the profit or loss from previous years. We cannot compare the performance of the business, and corruption and forgery had to be detected, okay? Because they don't have the complete record. Now, we as an accountant, we have to calculate or we have to have the business to determine the profit or loss. So there are two methods to calculate profit or loss for the entrepreneurship. Number one, comparison method, or in other words, in Malay we say kaedah perbandingan. And another one, analysis method. So today we just focus for comparison method. Okay, what is mean by the comparison method, or sometimes we call capital comparison method. So we have to compare the capital of the business in the beginning of the period with its capital at the ending of the period. So we must compare the beginning capital with the ending capital. And if the closing capital is more than opening capital, it shows a profit for the business. And another one, if the closing capital is less than opening, then we got loss. Aziz, are you with me? Oh, now, I give you one example. Example number one. Let's say one business, they want to sell the burger. They start with the beginning capital RM 500. After 1 day or 2 days business, the ending capital is 1,000. So you can compare the beginning capital RM 500 with the ending capital is RM 1,000. So the different amount, that one we call profit. So this the small business normally they will compare the beginning capital and the end of the business, the ending capital. So they can find that the different amount for that is profit. But if the closing capital less than the opening the capital, the business had a loss. So very easy for them to calculate the profit by comparing the closing capital with the beginning. Now this is the basic formula that you have to know. Okay, number one, the formula capital. This is the okay. We go back just now. Wait very sensitive. Now kita start from wait. Okay, this one. Okay, I continue with the formula. Capital equals to asset less liabilities. This is the basic formula. Opening capital, that means opening asset less opening liabilities. So we change the formula. We start opening. We just reverse the formula. And closing capital, that means closing asset less closing liabilities. How you get this formula? You just reverse this the basic formula. Okay, normally asset equals to liabilities plus owner's equity. Now we must calculate the capital. Okay, so for incomplete record we must relate with the statement of affairs. So the statement of affairs is a financial statement that shows the beginning and ending balance of capital. So what do you know about statement of affairs? It is a statement to show the assets deduct or in other words, the list of assets less the list of liabilities. Then you will get capital. Well, either you got opening capital or closing capital. So the statement of affairs is the list of assets less the list of liabilities. So this is the comparison method statement of affairs. Now you can see whether you want to start with the beginning or the ending capital. So this is the formula. This is the statement of affairs where you have to list. First, you must identify whether that item asset or liabilities. Okay, you must know, you must identify. Okay, this is the asset, non-current asset, and current asset. And so this is the item you must recognize, and then you must know this is the item under the asset. And the second one, you must know the liabilities, non-current liabilities and current liabilities. So you must list all the liabilities. For example, okay, this one land, building, motor vehicle, office equipment, cash, bank, account receivable, all prepaid expenses and accrued revenue or revenues receivable. So that one is another word for accrued revenues. So the example for prepaid expenses, normally the insurance, prepaid insurance, accrued revenues or revenue receivable we have received. No, we give the revenue receivable. That means we have performed the services but not received cash yet. Okay, now account payable, sold goods. No, we purchase goods on credit. That one is our liabilities. Our supplier, accrued expenses. Normally we use, for example, salaries payable, prepaid revenue. Prepaid revenue, in other words, we call unearned revenue. Bank overdraft, bank loan, or other words, for example, that you have learned, notes payable. Okay, this is the comparison method, right? So first step, you must identify which one is asset and which one is liabilities. So you get capital, either beginning capital or ending capital. We have to use the same statement. That one we call statement of affairs. So I repeat, statement of affairs is the list of assets less the list of liabilities, and you will get the capital. Okay, this is the statement of owners. Equity, opening capital, less, no, opening capital, add additional capital, add net profit, less drawing, and you get closing capital. This is the statement of owner's equity. You still remember? Now we have to reverse the statement of owner's equity. When you reverse, we start with closing capital, add drawing. Okay, this is the example. Closing 6,500 at drawing. You got this total. This is the owner's equity, but we reverse. We start with the closing one. Just now I show you, we start with the beginning. And then you have to deduct opening capital and additional capital. Then you have to calculate the profit. This is the statement that you will use in order to calculate profit. So we will have the owner or the business to calculate the profit. So what is the formula? The formula is closing capital plus drawing less additional capital less opening capital, then you got profit. Okay, this is the statement that we will use for calculate profit. Now, there are a few steps in using capital comparison method. Number one, okay, this is the basic formula. Capital equals to asset less liabilities. And you have to calculate the opening capital. Okay, the opening capital, we must start with opening asset less opening liabilities. All right. And the second one, you must calculate closing capital. The formula is, you still have to use the same formula, closing asset less closing liabilities. Okay, this is the second step. Okay, the third step, we have to calculate the profit or loss. So we are using the statement of owner's equity, but we must reverse. The reverse, that means statement of affairs. No, not the statement. We reverse owner's equity. We start with the closing capital, and you can find the missing figure. That one is profit or loss. And the last one, we must prepare the statement of financial position. Now we are going to do, for example, 1. Okay, this is the question. You are given the question January 2015 for Mestre Enterprise. So based on the information, this is the balance for the beginning 1st January 2015 and the ending balance. Okay, you can see the beginning balance and the ending balance. First step, you must identify which one is asset because you want to use the amount of asset less the amount of liabilities because you want to use the statement of affairs. So bank, number 1, bank balance at bank. This is an asset. So you just write down A in that column. A represent for asset. Account receivable represent for asset. You just write down A represent for asset. Inventory, you just write down A represent for asset. Fixtures and fitting, you just write down A. So how many asset that you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 asset. And this is the amount in the beginning of the accounting period. And this one for the asset at the ending accounting period. And you have only 2 liabilities. Account payable and rent or rates payable. Okay, now what should you do? Okay, there is an additional information. Every month, Ahmad withdraw RM 300 cash and goods for his personal use. So this one is every month. So you must calculate for 1 year times 12. So the total for drawing 400 times 12 multiplied by 12. So you got the total drawing. Okay, Ahmad contribute a further RM 2,500 cash. We increase the amount of drawing. So you are required to calculate. So you can see from the data given, there are 2 parts. Number 1, the data beginning of asset and liability, the ending of assets and liabilities, and the another information, additional information, drawing, and another information is additional capital. So you are required to calculate opening and closing capital, prepare the statement to calculate profit and loss for the period ended 31st December 2015, and you have to prepare the financial position. So first step, you must calculate the opening capital. So we have to prepare the statement of affairs. So this is the statement of affairs. We identify the list of assets. So how many assets that you have from the question? There are 4 assets. And you got the total for asset 14,900. This is the beginning of the asset. Okay, liabilities for the beginning year, you have only account payable. So we just less account payable and you get the amount 9,700. So this is opening capital. What is the formula? The beginning asset less the beginning liabilities. So this is the first step that you have to follow. And the second one, you have to calculate the closing capital. What is the formula? Yes, you still have to prepare the statement of affairs. So the statement of affairs is the list of assets less the list of liabilities. So you can see how many assets from the question. There are four assets. So you have to add all the assets and you get a total 22,850, and you must less the list of liabilities ending liabilities. So there are two items for liabilities: account payable and 4,000, and rent and rates payable. So the amount for closing capital is 18,600. So this is the second step when you are applying comparison method. Okay, the third step, you have to prepare statement of owner's equity in order to calculate profit or loss. So the closing capital at drawing, you must calculate 400 every month times 12 months because we prepare the account for 1 year. So you have to multiply by 12 months. So the total, when you add closing capital at drawing, you get 23,400 and less the additional capital. The additional capital is given in the additional information. And you must less the opening capital we have calculated using the statement of affairs, and closing capital we have calculated using the statement of affairs, and you get the answer for profit 11,200. Okay. Now this is the third step. We have calculated for profit or loss. So we get profit 11,200. Now the last step, we have to prepare the financial position. Okay, this is the financial position for the business. Non-current asset, okay, we just look at the ending asset, not the beginning, but the ending at 31st December 2015. This amount given in the question. So the current asset, you have three items. The balance at bank, 3,850, account receivable, 4,000, and inventory, 6,800, and the total for asset, non-current asset plus current asset, you get 22,850. And you must know the accounting equation is asset equals to owner's equity plus liabilities. So opening capital, we have calculated using the statement of affairs at additional capital given in the additional information at profit that we have calculated just now. And you get the total 23,400 and less drawing. Drawing 400 for 1 month, and you have to calculate for 12 months, and you get the total for drawing 4,800, and this is the closing capital. Now look at the current liabilities, 4,000. Rent and rates payable, 250. So you just add owner's equity plus current liabilities, 4,000 plus 250, you get the same amount, 22,850, and it equals to the total asset, 22,850. That's all for the steps. So you must remember there are 4 steps. Number 1, we have to calculate the opening capital. Number 2, we have to calculate the closing capital. Number 3, we have to prepare the profit or loss in order to calculate net profit or net loss. And the last step, we have to prepare the statement of financial position. That's all for today. So very short topic for accounting period. No. The topic for incomplete record comparison method. So we have to compare between Haziq, are you with me? So our topic finished already. So if you have any comment, now I want to look at any comment from my student. Okay. Kita baca komen ya. Ni kan dia orang komen kan tak nampak nama pula kan. Okay, show number 1. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Okay, Arifah. Number 2, Hanani. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Okay, Nisha. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Any of you can write, cikgu, I understand this topic. Kan kalau faham. Syahidah. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Hadira. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Nurul Nadila. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Okey, ada lagi ke? Ada lagi ya. Ishira. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. Aini Sofia. Waalaikumsalam cikgu. And Eunice. Hi. Okay, hi. So habis saya dah baca kan. Nanti kan ada yang tak baca pula. Ada private chat. Private chat from Haziq. Amir. Oh, Amir, private chat. Amir masuk dalam ni ke? Oh, Amir masuk. Okey. Sekejap ya. Macam ni tadi. Okey, kita dah habis dah. Sampai habis. Amir, are you okay Amir? Saya masuk muka Amir kejap. Amir ada tak muka? Cuba tunjuk muka Amir. Amir masuk dalam StreamYard. Amir, where are you? Tak ada, tapi dia dah masuk dalam StreamYard. Tak ada, dia pun terkejut agaknya dia masuk. Actually, okay, never mind. So, kita dah habis for this topic and I hope that you can understand this topic and try to do an exercise in the book that you have done. You have tried to prepare. So, itu saja. Aziz, ada apa-apa nak cakap Aziz? Tak ada. Ada tak? Ada tak?
Tak ada cikgu.
Okey, jadi sebelum kita habis, saya menjemput pada hari Haziq. Baca doa. Baca doa.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Innal insana lafi husr illa allazina amanu wa amilus solihat wa tawassaw bihaq wa tawassaw bis-sabr. Amin.
Okey, saya rasa setakat itu saja. Kejap ada seorang nak buat ni. Thank you cikgu. Siapa ni? Ayila. Thank you cikgu, I understand. Alright, bagus. Okay, itu saja saya rasa for today. So kita jumpa lagi pada masa akan datang. Okay, bye semua. Assalamualaikum.